Here's a better shot of a mass transit train shot from the 7th floor of our hotel. A beautiful Friday morning in Jerusalem.
Wasn't it good though?
Yeah, it was very good.
All right, we're all set here to go on a tunnel tour.
It was not good.
Some of us are, at least.
Yeah, we got home and still got home after.
First day without the bus. We're gonna get a cab to take us there.
I'll bring one beer.
Yeah. All right.
He's very
Right.
She came unglued that.
They're going with Bill.
Are they doing something else? No, they're doing what we're doing earlier than we did.
No clown car for this group. Back at the Western Wall. We're gonna go on the tunnel tour.
Let's see here on the screen. Now, as a matter of fact, it is only from now on that we'll be able to speak about the Western Wall. Where does it stand? It stands right here in front of you. You see? It is not a wall of the temple. As you can see, the temple stands here. The Western Wall is a retaining wall of the plaza above which the temple is built. And that's what... Now, 700 years later, 600 years later, actually, the Muslims conquered Jerusalem for the first time during the 7th century. At the end of the 7th century, they will build here the Dome of the Rock, approximately where the temple stood. And there on the south, the Dome of the Rock, the Mosque of Al-Aqsa, sorry, with the silver dome. And then, 700 years ago, a new quarter was built here on the west of the mountain. And as you can see, the Western Wall was just hidden, right? Totally hidden by those structures. If you ever saw old photos, old pictures of the Western Wall, you're able to see Jews who prayed in a narrow street, a very narrow street like this room. We stood here between that part of the wall and those houses. Now, as an aftermath of the 6-day war, when the city was reunited, the plaza was created here. Those houses were removed and the plaza was created here, and that's how the place looks like now, right? That's how it looked like now. That's how it looked like now. Okay, so we can actually only see that part of the wall in front of us, in front of the plaza, and yet two-thirds of it, as you can see, stands below the Mosque corner, right? It means that if you came today to see that part, you will have to walk with me below those houses. And that's, by the way, what we've already started to do. And you'll understand why, if I put everything here in place, you'll be able to understand where we are standing now and what we'll do next. Look, I repeat, that is the Western Wall, right? The retaining wall of the plaza. That is the Northern corner, and that's the Prague Plaza. And that's the only part of the wall which you can see in front of it, right? Okay, now we are standing below that roof. You see? We are here. We are going to return underneath those houses to the wall, and from that moment on, we'll just continue northward until we finish our journey in the mountain here, and then via the tunnel, we'll exit from the entrance. Okay? That's
A long way down. Shows the size of the wall.
okay, everyone looked, everyone took a look. Folks, I repeat, there is a transparent window here on the floor. You can also look behind the fence. I would like to look over there because from here we'll be able to ask ourselves another question. Down there, right, where the drum stands. Now I really hope that
30 feet down.
There is open. Please, we'll be able to get there and to speak about those remains from a short distance. Okay, so just follow me.
Cistern?
Yes, but what, for what kind of use?
Baths?
Use? In order to pump water out or something else? Also came closer to the Western Wall. I'd like you to look here at the picture and to understand what we were able to see here if we came 2,000 years ago. I repeat, that is the temple. Do you see? The temple. the temple plaza, the western wall. The dark part that you can see here is the only part that one can see today in front of the current plaza. And now pay attention to something quite interesting that we can hardly notice today when we enter the old city. I'm speaking about that valley, that very deep valley, which separates the Temple Mountain from the western hill over here, above which the Jewish culture is built today. Do you see? A very deep valley, so deep that King Herod himself had to build two bridges which connected the ground level, the valley, to the temple itself. Now, it's true, as you know, that the temple was destroyed and the city was destroyed 2,000 years ago by the Romans. But wherever we identify steps, we know that humans had to enter the water itself, right? So it was not a cistern, it was not used to pump out water. It was used as a bath, right? White kind of bath, a ritual bath, for religious purposes. Now it's quite interesting because but we do know that during the 13th, the beginning of the 14th century, the Crusaders still ruled the coastal cities of the land. Now the Crusaders didn't come from Europe to conquer the coastal cities. They wanted to return to Jerusalem to reconquer it, right? So the Muslims, which was the city, had a good reason to be afraid. Because of that.
Water is still coming in today.
It's running water.
Yeah. Wow. These were like pipes or little mini tunnels for the water to flow down into the baths. Huge tunnels.
Coming back to the western wall, and right from here we can see something quite amazing which reflects those huge dimensions, and in order to show it to you I need two volunteers.
I show you the wall next to the wall. Big question, why do I need to have a wall next to the wall? Right, so we must think with our minds. Why? Maybe it's not.
Yeah, it's not the wall. That was your right hand. Touch the wall, touch the wall.
After the second temple was destroyed, they needed.
Now another volunteer, okay, you know what? We'll use the second guy over there. Okay, look at him. Okay,
They wanted to build there a very deep water reservoir. After the destruction of the temple about 300 years,
in front of that one. Okay, between the two, there is only one huge building rock, which is actually the biggest in Israel, one of the biggest in the world. They stood the plaza above which they built.
This is where they tried to destroy the temple.
That's the explanation for the very clear
And we got so far.
between the upper layers and the two first ones. Now, what are those walls? Well, between the two periods of time we spoke about, between the Second Temple era and the Muslim conquest, the Romans and the Byzantines ruled Jerusalem for 600 years. Now, during that time, somewhere during that time, and we don't know exactly when, a cistern was built here, a water reservoir. The problem was that you still see some remains of the plaster where we know that a water reservoir stood here. And now, the builders here had a
Plaster to
problem.
make it
That wall,
waterproof.
which was once much higher, might have collapsed. So to prevent it to collapse, it was directly connected to the western wall itself. By digging those holes, okay folks, now our turn. As a gap.
Okay.
Why does it remind? A gate, an entrance. There were 4 entrances, 4 gates on the western wall, more than on any of the walls surrounding the plaza, because of a very simple fact. The large majority of the pilgrims came from the west, and therefore they needed many entrances in order to enter the Temple Mountain, right? So from below, to just restore it below, as we've said before, right? Now besides, those walls behind us, and that structure above, do not exist of course. So from below, the pilgrims saw the sun, the sky, it was totally open to the air. Nothing was built here yet. Only a spot on earth According to the Jewish tradition, when the Lord created the world, He established upon that rock, which is the emplacement of the Holy of Holies, as if all the world in one way or another is connected to it, right? We'll think about it here. On our right, of course, as we'll enter, it's a continuation of the Western Wall. In a few moments, you'll see the beautiful Herodian stones. Remember that you'll identify them thanks to the frame decoration which surrounds each other, right? By the way, and later on that part was revealed by the Muslims apparently, but inside you'll be able to see the original ones. Now, on the floor of that tunnel, 2 transparent windows are installed, so look underneath. If you remember, we just said that
you see the framing here, that's Herodian. Yeah. Yeah.
Very square.
Okay, this is rubble from when the Romans tried to destroy the wall.
And they threw it down from up top, but they gave up after a while. We are walking along the western wall, inside. You can really see the framing. Cistern.
14th century cistern.
These wires is how we get the lights and the fans. Herodian streets.
first of all, remember what we said at the beginning. We spoke about a valley, right? A valley which separates the Temple Mountain from the Western Hill. Now, you know Jerusalem enough to understand on a 2,000 years old street, 2,000 years old pavements, which were found here intact during the excavation. The street corner, an intact street corner from the period of time of the Second Temple era. And now, once again, let's use our imagination. Let's erase all the walls which surround us, besides, of course, the western wall which should stand, yes? But those walls and that arch above did not exist. That street started from here, it continued all along the wall, even beyond its southern corner. Our compared to us, that it didn't stand here apparently because the street was not so narrow. Let's add a series of columns to those two, and let's imagine between each couple of them an entrance to a shop. And what kind of a shop? A shop in which sacrifices, for example, were sold. We know that it was a commercial area. Looking at the mountain bedrock, the natural rock of the mountain, and above the first layers of the western wall. Therefore, it stands now above us and not anymore below. Okay?
This was a quarry.
coping lines, you'll be able to see that they correspond to the average size of the rock of the western wall. So we can understand that from nearby quarries like this, stones were taken for the building of the wall itself.
Wow, very narrow here. Oh, it changes completely here.
As you can see, we are no longer walking next to the western wall. We left the western wall and we entered a narrow tunnel, an aqueduct, which was dug inside the mountain in order to lead water to the temple mountain, the temple itself. As you can see, we are not inside the mountain. Not only that we stand below houses, we really stand out below the ground surface for the first time. Right? The ground surface is there. Now, as I've said, that aqueduct had in purpose to lead water to the temple, so we can reach two conclusions. The first is that it was once much longer. It's not the fact that this segment is quite impressive. It is only a small part of the original canal. The original canal had to penetrate the Temple Mount and to bring the water next to the temple. So
Yes, water would come through here.
Can't you imagine water coming through here?
Wow, and here's the water right here. Wow. More water on this side.
now, it's another purpose. It was also a moat. A moat, as you know, is a canal which is supposed to protect a fortified area, right? And the area the Jews wanted to protect was obviously the temple.
Catholic Church.
We were here.
We were here, yeah.
Hard right outside, remember?
Yeah. Yeah. Via della Rosa. Cash truck.
Hey, there's a teacher. I don't need Google. My wife knows everything.
I'm glad you said it and I didn't.
But honey, I do.
The only DVDs we've seen. Finally found a bless you. We finally found a pharmacy. Yeah, big ones. Very fragrant around here, as well as visual and audible. There's the windmill.
Nice.
Yeah, first time I've been able to get a picture of it.
Tomorrow's our last day.
Yeah, we go home tomorrow. Shops are closed. Yes, the oddities you see in Jerusalem. A horse tied up next to an apartment complex. Okay, we made it.
Barnett, you're okay.
Yeah, we got navigated by Barnett. Okay, you can go in.
If you're going to get a picture, this is a nice sign for this thing.
Okay.
Oh, look at the blue.
Charlotte likes their flowers. And there's their sign, their main sign. And we're going to go in. We found it. A little warm, so we're going to warm outside. So we're going to stay inside.
Too warm. So we'll go see. How's this? John and Emily. John and Emily.
Oh, is it? Uh-huh.
And a bunch of the Peachtree Road.
Okay, uh-huh.
There was a train station. Well, this one's stopping here. They're there all day, every day.
Anybody else want to try? Or yeah. We got time. They come pretty fast. Yeah, they come. You know, then you stick your ticket in. Don't just no. The porter, the conductor comes through and marks it. But you have to already have written down where you're going that day.
I think we're coming up on a stop. This is City Hall. We just took the train from near our hotel. Gonna walk down to the old city.
It's just an old electric trolley.
Sure works well.
Yeah. So I guess we can. They had a pretty good little system back there where they talked about which buses you could connect to. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I didn't.
But there was a sign that showed which buses you could connect to once you got off of that. We sort of got mass transit on that old Yeah, you're
King David Hotel.
missed the new gate.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can find where it is.
I picture it in the movies. Yeah, 15
Таня на группу, друзья, подойдите, пожалуйста. Друзья, посмотрите, видите, внутри находится кафе «Отдал». Когда распределение произошло сильнейшее землетрясение, разорвалась занавес, раскололась скала.
So 2 eggs white.
Yeah.
Only one?
One.
Boy, to sell one t-shirt, he spent a lot of times. Charlotte's gonna try on some harem pants here. I know.
Maybe they mixed everything up on purpose.
The world with Jerusalem as the center.
Cool.
Well, I think we finally made it to the King David Hotel. We had to walk up the hill to get here, but I think we're here.
The court.
Well, I know if we need to rent a car, we're in good shape.
David Street too, so.
Okay, I was mistaken. It's this one here.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That looks more palatial. And the King David gas station right before it. Some water for the camels. It's fun to stay at the YMCA.
There's the red awning. It's the West YMCA. We went by the other one.
Oh, that's right. There's a west and an east.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
So is this whole thing the YMCA?
I guess. Wow. We made it. Okay, we're hanging out at the King David Hotel. We're thinking about checking in, but we looked at last night's lottery numbers and we didn't win, so all right, we'll stay here someday. Hanging out, hanging out, just hanging out. Since it's Shabbat, they can't use that elevator, but kids can go in there and play. It's Friday night in Israel. We're enjoying the music here.